There are moments when life seems to play with our certainties, moving everything around and leaving a void that we don't know how to fill. Have they ever looked in the mirror and wondered if true love is something that only happens in movies or in other people's stories? There is something unsettling about feeling that, despite so many attempts, there is something or someone who always seems out of reach, as if the universe is conspiring to leave you hanging. Maybe they have noticed different glances, shy gestures, words that seem to want to convey more than they actually do. And yet, a silence lingers, bringing doubts and uncertainties that become almost impossible to ignore. There is a deep pain in not knowing if what they feel is reciprocated, or worse, if they are just imagining things where there is nothing. It's like walking on a suspended bridge, not knowing if it will take them to the other side or if it will simply disappear beneath their feet. They find themselves pondering the what-ifs. What if they had acted differently? What if they had noticed earlier? What if what they feel is just an illusion? This internal battle, between the desire to believe and the fear of getting hurt, can consume even the strongest souls. What to do when the heart seems to scream something that reason insists on denying? There is a constant confusion, an invisible yet always present weight. This person who seems so close and so far away at the same time leaves a trail of doubts that they can't erase. Even when they try to move on, something in the air, in the environment, brings back that sensation, that premonition that there is more than meets the eye. And this is where fear emerges as an old acquaintance, preventing them from taking the next step, from seeking answers to questions that do not stop echoing. Is it possible that this proximity hides something that they still can't see? And if what they seek is closer than they imagine, but their own fears are preventing them from seeing? But the truth is that avoiding what they feel only feeds the anxiety even more, like a storm that grows in intensity every second. Ignoring the clues, the small evidence, only makes the mystery even greater. And the more they try to escape, the more the doubts seem to pursue them, like shadows that never disappear, even in the light of day. There is a magnetism in those who seem unreachable, an almost hypnotic fascination in wanting to decipher what others hide. But when this mystery is so close, in someone you cross paths with every day, the intensity of the feeling multiplies. After all, how to deal with a heart that seems to beat stronger every time they are near that person? And if that person is so trapped in their own dilemmas that they also cannot take a step forward? What to do when both are at a standstill, trapped by feelings that seem to have no way out? Uncertainty can be a prison, but it can also be a bridge. The difference lies in how they choose to cross it. At this moment, what they feel is the tip of something larger, something that is about to be revealed. But it takes courage to move forward, to look beyond appearances and discover what is hidden between the lines. Maybe they already have all the answers, but they are waiting for a sign, for a confirmation that only angels can bring. At every moment, it's as if an invisible pressure tightens their chest, a discomfort that keeps growing and doesn't give them a break. It's a whirlwind of thoughts, of what if, that won't leave their mind. That doubt that seems to have no end, that silence that screams louder than any word. It's exhausting, but it's also impossible to ignore. Why does everything seem so out of reach, so complicated, even when the answer seems to be right there, in front of them? Do they feel this, don't they? This need to understand, to seek an answer, whatever it may be, to finally be able to move forward. But what is holding them back? Is it the fear of hearing something they don't want to, or the hesitation to take the first step? Maybe it's that inner voice that always doubts their feelings, their intuition. What if they are wrong? What if it's all in their head? But what if it's not? It's difficult to deal with this internal battle, this constant conflict between the desire to know and the fear of getting hurt. But there's something they need to remember. The universe doesn't put anything in their path by chance. What if, instead of running away, they decided to face it? What if all this doubt, all this uncertainty, was just the prelude to something bigger, something that can transform their life in ways they can't even imagine? It's time to stop and ask themselves, how long will they wait for the answers to come to them? The universe may be waiting for them to make the move, to open their eyes and see what is right in front of them. This situation, which seems so complicated, may actually be a disguised opportunity. A chance to change everything, to rewrite their story, but it will only reveal itself when they decide to act. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it requires courage. But it's also liberating. Because deep down, they know they deserve something more, something real. And there is nothing more real than facing their doubts, their insecurities, and making room for the truth to come. Even if it's not what they expect, even if it challenges everything they believed up to now. Allowing the answers to come is not a sign of weakness, it's an act of strength. It's a decision not to live anymore in a state of waiting, not allowing doubt to consume their days and nights. Because what is to come, whatever it may be, is much bigger than any fear they may feel now. Have they ever wondered how many times they missed out on something amazing out of fear of getting hurt? How many times they let the what-ifs dominate their thoughts, instead of seeking the answers that could set their heart free? Wouldn't it be time to change that? To give themselves a chance, to open the doors of their heart and allow the revelations to come? The most beautiful thing about all this is that when they allow themselves to face their doubts, when they decide to pursue the truth, they are not just seeking answers about another person. They are discovering more about themselves, their strength, their courage, and their ability to love, even when the path is uncertain. And the truth is, they are already prepared for this. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment or the ideal circumstances. It's about deciding that they will no longer live in limbo, that they will take control of their life and make room for what really matters. Take a deep breath. This is their moment. No matter what is to come, they have already overcome the hardest part, recognizing that they deserve answers, that they deserve more than the doubts and fears that have been accompanying them. Because in the end, true love, whether it's for another person or for themselves, only flourishes where there is courage to face the truth. And courage is something they already have in abundance. The proximity of that person creates a palpable tension, an energy that seems to vibrate in the air every time they meet. It's something you can't ignore, as if the universe were conspiring for your paths to cross repeatedly. But even with so many signs, there is an invisible barrier that prevents any progress. It's as if both are afraid of breaking the fragile balance that sustains this undeclared relationship. What to do when the unspoken words weigh more than any declaration? As the days go by, small gestures take on immense proportions. A gaze that lasts a little longer, a smile that seems to hold secrets, a pause in the conversation that leaves something in the air. All of this leaves the heart in suspense, as if each moment could bring the long-awaited answer. But silence continues to reign, bringing along doubts, fears, and interpretations that may be illusory. After all, how to trust what you feel when everything seems so uncertain? You begin to revisit each interaction, searching for clues, signs that can confirm what your heart insists on believing. But the mind, always cautious, questions every detail, as if fearing to be creating something that doesn't exist. This internal battle between hope and fear is exhausting, draining your strength, but at the same time keeping alive the flame of a possible outcome. It's a delicate dance between expectation and reality, where each step seems uncertain. And if time is passing and you are missing the opportunity for something unique, this possibility looms like a shadow, increasing even more the urgency to act, but without the guarantee that the outcome will be positive. There is something profoundly paralyzing in not knowing if what you feel is mutual or just a projection of your desires. But at the same time, there is a spark of courage, a call to take risks and discover the truth. The angels, always present, whisper messages of encouragement, trying to guide their steps and light their path. They know that true love is not free from challenges, but they also know that it is worth every effort, every moment of doubt, and every risk. The question is, are you willing to listen to these whispers and follow what they indicate? Or will fear continue to be the greatest obstacle between you and the truth you seek? There is something magical about realizing that the deepest feelings often arise in the most unexpected moments. That person, who once seemed just a common figure in your daily life, suddenly became the center of your reflections. What has changed? Maybe it's the way they started looking at you, as if they saw something they had never noticed before. Or perhaps it's you who, slowly, began to realize how much they mean. Even when you try to divert your thoughts, something always brings you back to that person. A scent, a song, a place. Everything seems to conspire to keep that connection alive in your mind and in your heart. It's almost as if the universe is insisting that you don't ignore that bond, that you pay attention to what really matters. But how do you know if this is really a sign or just a coincidence? The human heart has an incredible ability to intuit what words cannot express. You feel that there is something different, something special about this person, but the lack of clarity is like a fog that obscures the truth. However, this intuition is what keeps you hopeful, even in the face of doubts and difficulties. It's as if a part of you already knows the answer, but is waiting for the right moment to confirm it. Meanwhile, this person also seems to be battling their own demons, facing doubts that they may never verbalize. The fear of opening up, of exposing their vulnerabilities, is a burden that many carry, especially when it comes to such deep feelings. But you notice the small signs that something is changing, that maybe they are also trying to find a way to break this silence. With each new encounter, emotions intensify, as if an invisible game is unfolding between you. It's an exchange of energy that cannot be ignored, but still lacks words to become something concrete. You feel like you are at a threshold, at a turning point that could change everything. But how to take the next step without fear of falling? Time seems to move slower when you are together, as if each moment were a world of its own, isolated from the rest of life. It is in these moments that you realize how much this person already occupies a space in your heart, even without ever having said a word to confirm it. It's a paradox, so close, but still so far away. But what if the distance you feel is just an illusion, created by both fears? What if what you share is already much more than it seems at first glance? These questions echo, bringing more doubts, but also more hope. Because deep down, you know there is something there, something that cannot be ignored. The angels know about the scars you carry, the moments when you felt the weight of the world and the exhaustion of trying again. It's not easy, and no one expects it to be. But they also see something that maybe you still can't see. This story, this connection, is not like the others. There's something in it that can't be explained, only felt. No matter how much you try to ignore or rationalize it, it remains there, pulsating in an almost inevitable way. There is a force that keeps them connected to that person, even when everything seems to say move on. It is almost impossible to explain. It is not just longing, it is not just expectation. It is as if something deeper pulls them back, something that defies logic and awakens all those questions they try to avoid. Is it worth it? What if I am wrong? Why do I still feel this? These questions revolve around them, like a constant wind that does not leave them alone. The angels see every step they take and feel the intensity of what they are going through. They understand that the fear is great, that opening their heart again may seem risky, almost reckless. But they also know that deep down, they do not want to give up, even if reason insists on pointing in other directions. They know that love is more than promises or certainties. It is made of courage, of trusting the unknown, even when everything seems so uncertain. And that person? They also feel something, even if they do not know how to handle it. It may be difficult to see this when their actions are contradictory, but the angels whisper that appearances do not always tell the whole story. There is a conflict, an internal process happening that maybe they cannot fully perceive. It does not mean that they do not care or that they are not important. It means that they, just like them, are navigating through their own choppy waters. The nights when they feel the most alone, when doubts speak louder, are precisely the moments when the angels are closer. It is there in the silence that they try to bring comfort, reminding them that none of this is in vain. They know that their intuition is pointing at something important, something that goes beyond the words or gestures they can see. They feel it, don't they? That unexplainable certainty that something greater is happening, even if they cannot define what it is. What you are experiencing is not an empty wait. It's a process. It's the time needed for things to align, for the pieces of this puzzle to finally make sense. The angels want you to know that their patience, their strength, and their persistence are not going unnoticed. They understand how hard it is to keep hope when the answers don't come, but they ask you to trust. Because something is moving, even if you still can't see it. This connection is not by chance. There is a reason why their paths have crossed, why this person occupies so much space in their mind and in their heart. The angels whisper that it takes time for things to flourish. That love, true love, cannot be rushed or forced. But they also ask you to trust yourself, to listen to what your heart is saying. Because it knows more than you imagine. And you? How are you taking care of yourself while you wait? This is a point the angels want you to reflect on. It's not about letting the wait consume everything you are, but about continuing to be who you are, regardless of the circumstances. It's about strengthening yourself, finding joy in every small moment, and remembering that self-love is as important as the love you wish to share. Yes, the journey is full of ups and downs, but it is also full of lessons. Each passing day is an opportunity to know yourself better, to understand what you want, what you deserve, and what you are willing to offer. And that, in itself, is already a transformation. Because love starts within you, with your willingness to believe, to trust, and to move forward, even when the path seems unclear. The angels continue by their side, guiding them step by step, reminding them that waiting has a purpose. They see how strong they are, even in moments when they doubt it. And they know that when the truth finally comes, it will bring with it a clarity that will transform everything. Because love, when it's real, always finds a way to manifest, even in the most unlikely scenarios. The silence between them is like a magnetic field, full of words that were never said but scream in every gesture. This tension is almost palpable, an energy that vibrates in the air and makes it impossible to ignore what's happening. They notice the discreet looks, the shy smiles, the moments when that person seems to hesitate before speaking. All of this makes them wonder, do they feel the same? And if they do, why don't they say anything? Each day seems to bring a new layer of mystery, a new detail to decipher. It's as if they are trapped in a silent dance, where each step is taken with caution not to break the fragile balance. But at the same time, this hesitation leaves them on the brink of frustration. Because the desire to know the truth is as great as the fear of hearing an answer they do not want. What to do when the heart and reason seem to be heading in opposite directions? The angels know the weight this puts on their heart and are by their side, trying to lighten this burden. They see the internal struggle they face every day, trying to decipher what is real and what is just a product of their imagination. And yet, they whisper that there is something more, something that cannot be ignored. Because true love has a unique way of manifesting itself, even when those involved try to hide it. Meanwhile, this person seems to live their own inner conflict, torn between the courage to open up and the fear of rejection. Perhaps they too have scars from past stories, wounds that prevent them from taking the next step. Yet you notice the small advances, the gestures that seem to convey more than words ever could. It's in these moments that hope is renewed, even if doubt still lingers. You begin to realize that perhaps waiting is a test, a trial of patience and faith. The angels know that true love does not rush, but it also does not hide. They encourage you to trust the process, to believe that every step, no matter how small, is leading you in the right direction. Because in the end, what truly matters is not the speed, but the depth of the connection. But how to stay calm when the heart insists on racing whenever this person is around? It's as if each encounter is a reminder of what you feel, a confirmation that there is something special between you. But the lack of words, of concrete actions, makes everything even more challenging. It's a game of patience and intuition, where every move can change the course of the story. You realize that the simplest details are actually the most revealing. The way this person looks at you, the way they seem to pay attention to every word you say. It's these moments that make you believe that there is something more, something that has not yet been said, but that is present in every interaction. And it's this belief that keeps you strong, even when doubts seem overwhelming. Meanwhile, the angels continue to work behind the scenes, aligning your path so that, at the right moment, everything will be revealed. They know that the waiting can be painful, but they also know it is necessary. Because what is being built between you is not ordinary, but something that has the potential to transform your lives. And for that, it takes time, patience, and faith. Have you ever noticed how small details can carry a huge weight? A gaze that lasts longer than expected, a pause in the middle of a conversation, that silence that speaks as much as 1,000 words. It's as if everything is on hold, waiting for the right moment to unfold. But at the same time, there is this tension, this feeling that something needs to happen to break what seems like an invisible barrier between them. They, even if they don't say anything, are experiencing an internal conflict that transpires through the smallest gestures. You notice in their eyes a mix of doubt and desire. It's as if there's something trapped, wanting to come out, but hasn't found the space for it yet. And this triggers a range of emotions in you, from hope to anxiety. What is really happening there? And why does it seem so difficult to simply say what needs to be said? Love, as angels know well, doesn't follow clear rules. It doesn't fit into schedules or perfect expectations. It grows, changes, and sometimes takes longer than we would like to manifest. But that doesn't mean it's not there, latent, waiting to be recognized. That connection you feel, that silent certainty that there's something special, is not by chance. It's real, even if it hasn't been named yet. It's possible that they are so trapped in their own uncertainties that they can't see what's right in front of them. The angels understand the weight of that. It's not easy to carry such intense feelings and at the same time, fight against them. But they also see that something is changing. Small openings are starting to appear, signs that the wall separating them is slowly crumbling. And you feel that, don't you? That difference, even subtle, in the way they interact with you. These changes may seem insignificant at first, but they are enormous in the context of what they share. Every gesture, every carefully chosen word, every glance, is a piece of a larger puzzle. And although it's hard to have patience to see the complete picture, the angels whisper that it's worth the wait. Because what is being built here is more than just a simple relationship, It's something that has the potential to transform both of them. Still, it's impossible to deny the challenge of waiting. There are times when they wonder if they are imagining things, if they are creating expectations where they shouldn't. But deep down, they know it's not just that. There is a truth that insists on revealing itself, even if still shyly. And the angels are here to remind them that this intuition, this certainty they feel, should not be ignored. Love is not just a feeling, it's a choice. A choice to believe, to trust, even when everything seems hazy. It's deciding that, despite the difficulties, it's worth fighting for something greater. And they are already doing that. Every day, every interaction, they are showing that they are willing to make room for this love to grow, in the time and way it needs. The angels see this, and they also see the effort that this person is making, even if discreetly. It's not easy for them, just as it's not for them. But both are moving, even at different paces, towards a meeting point. And when that moment comes, it will be as if all the pieces finally fall into place. Until then, it's important to remember that the process is as valuable as the result. Every step, every discovery, is helping them grow, to know themselves better, to understand what really matters. And above all, it's showing that true love is not something that just happens. It's built, day after day, with patience, courage, and faith. So, keep going. Keep believing, even when it's hard. Keep trusting, even when doubt arises. Because the angels are by their side, guiding every move, every decision. And they know that, at the right moment, everything will make sense. Love, when it's real, cannot be ignored. It waits, with the quiet strength of something that knows it's destined to bloom. With each new day, you feel as if you're walking through an emotional maze, surrounded by unanswered questions. That person seems so close, yet so unreachable, and the silence between you is like a scream echoing in the void. There are moments when you almost feel the courage to ask what's really going on, but something holds you back. Perhaps it's the fear of hearing what you don't want to, or the uncertainty of what that might change. But how long can you sustain this weight? The angels, in their wisdom, know that love requires a delicate combination of patience and action. They encourage you to listen to your intuition, to notice the signs that have been sent in subtle yet meaningful ways. This wait is not a punishment, but a preparation for something greater. Because when both are ready, the barriers will fall, and the truth will reveal itself in a way that transcends all expectations. However, until that moment arrives, you continue to navigate through unfamiliar waters. Every encounter with that person is like a fragment of something larger, a piece of a puzzle that is still being put together. The gazes that meet, the words that linger between the lines, everything seems to be part of an invisible dance. But what happens when one of the two decides to stop dancing? That possibility is a thought that haunts them. The fear of loss is one of the most overwhelming feelings the heart can carry. They fear that, by waiting too long, time may take that opportunity away, like the tide that erases footprints in the sand. But the angels remind that what is true is never lost, only transformed. The love that is meant for them will find a way, even if the journey is full of twists and turns. Still, it's hard to calm the heart when it insists on racing ahead. They find themselves thinking of all the what-ifs, of all the possibilities that could have been different. But the reality is that the past cannot be changed, and the future is yet to be written. What matters is the present, and what they choose to do with it. And maybe it's time to set aside the fear and take a step towards the unknown. That person, however distant they may seem, is more connected to them than they imagine. There is an invisible bond that ties them, an energy that transcends words and actions. The angels know this and are working to strengthen this connection, so that, at the right moment, it can blossom. But this will only be possible if both allow it, if both are willing to face their fears and vulnerabilities. The small gestures they notice are not by chance. They are like sparks of a fire that is still forming, but has the potential to warm and illuminate. Every smile, every glance, every pause in the conversation carries a weight that only those who feel it can understand. And it is in this weight that the truth resides, a truth that is still waiting to be discovered. What angels want you to know is that love is not something that can be forced or rushed. It has its own time, its own pace, and requires patience and trust. But that doesn't mean you should just stand still, waiting for everything to happen on its own. There are times when action is needed, when risks have to be taken, even without guarantees. Because in the end, what really matters is what you feel and how you choose to express it. You may feel that this wait is coming to an end, that something is about to change. It's like the moment before a storm, when the air seems to be charged with electricity and everything appears to be on hold. The angels confirm that this sensation is not just your imagination. They are paving the way for this truth to finally come to light, for what is hidden to be revealed. And when that happens, it will be like a wave that washes over everything, bringing clarity and renewal. But until then, courage is needed, faith is needed, and above all, the commitment to keep moving forward. Because every step you take, even if it seems small, is bringing you closer to the truth. And that truth, when it arrives, will have the power to transform everything. You are on the verge of something extraordinary, a moment when everything that has been quietly built will begin to reveal itself. That person who occupies your thoughts is facing their own internal storm, a battle between reason and heart. The angels want you to know that this struggle is not easy, but it is necessary for the truth to finally emerge. Every day, something changes, even if subtly, and these changes are signs that the universe is conspiring in your favor. The human heart is complex, often loaded with doubts and fears that prevent them from taking the next step. They also face these barriers, trying to find a balance between what they feel and what they fear. But the angels whisper that the walls are starting to crumble, that the power of love is stronger than any fear. And it is in this moment of vulnerability that the transformation begins to happen. Meanwhile, you feel like time is slowing down, as if the universe wants to give you the chance to truly absorb everything that is happening. Every encounter, every exchange of words or glances, carries a weight that cannot be ignored. There is an intensity in the air, an energy that you cannot explain, but that you know is real. And it is this energy that continues to guide you, even when doubt tries to settle in. Have you noticed that true love is never simple, but it is always transformative? It challenges us, forces us to confront our shadows and question our certainties. And that is what is happening now, both for you and for this person. The angels see this as a sign that something deep and meaningful is about to emerge. But for that, courage, patience, and faith are needed. This journey is not just about finding answers, but also about growth. You are learning to trust yourself, to listen to your intuition, and to recognize the signs that the universe is sending. And even though the wait is difficult, it is shaping you, making you stronger and more prepared for what is to come. Because what awaits you is not just a revelation, but a transformation. This person, although still seeming hesitant, is beginning to realize the depth of what they feel. It's as if a light has been lit in their heart, illuminating everything that was hidden. And even though they still struggle to understand these feelings, the angels assure them that the truth can no longer be ignored. Love is a force that cannot be contained, and it is starting to manifest in ways that previously seemed impossible. You, on the other hand, feel that something inside you is also changing. There is a new strength, a new clarity, that is helping you face the situation with more confidence. The angels are by your side, guiding each step, whispering words of encouragement, and ensuring you are on the right path. Because deep down, you know that what is to come is worth every moment of waiting. And then there is that moment of silence, that instant when everything seems to stop. It is in that moment that you realize you're exactly where you should be, that every step, every doubt, every hope has brought you here. The angels whisper that the answer you seek is closer than you imagine, that everything is aligning for the great moment of revelation. When this happens, it will be like a ray of light piercing through the clouds, bringing clarity and warmth. This person will finally find the words to express what is in their heart, and you will realize that all the effort, all the waiting, was worth it. Because what you share is rare, something that many spend their entire lives seeking. Love is, above all, a choice. It's deciding to face fears, overcome doubts, and open up to the possibility of something extraordinary. And you have already made that choice, even if you don't realize it yet. The angels see that and are by your side, ensuring that every step you take is leading you in the right direction. Because what is to come is not just an end, but a new beginning. Type 1 to continue or write where it will be set, with mystical, dreamlike, and esoteric nuances. Please describe where you would like the image to be set, with mystical, dreamlike, and esoteric nuances, or indicate if you prefer a generic image. I'm ready to create something special. Here is the image generated based on the provided instructions. I hope it captures the desired mystical and romantic essence. If you need adjustments or another creation, just let me know.